Luke was a single dad and a retired Army veteran. He had served his country for many years and returned home hoping for peace. His life had always been disciplined and orderly, shaped by years of military service, but his heart belonged to one person, his young daughter, Mia. She was 7 years old, full of energy and curiosity. Her laughter was like sunshine, and every evening Luke would look at her and feel that all the struggles he had faced in life were worth it for her smile. They lived in a small house near the countryside. It was not a fancy home, but it was filled with love. The walls had pictures of Mia drawing or playing in the yard. Luke had built a small garden beside the house. Every morning, he would tend the plants while Mia played with her small dog, Buddy. It was a quiet life, peaceful after years of noise and chaos in the army. Luke often told Mia stories about the fields around them, about the animals, and about how the stars in the sky were like guardians watching over their little home. One warm evening, Luke and Mia returned from the market. Mia was excited because she had picked out her favorite chocolate from the little store in town. Luke carried the bags, smiling at her enthusiasm. They walked up the lane toward their home. But as they got closer, a smell of smoke hit them first. Then, through the trees, Luke saw flames rising, smoke curling into the sky. His heart froze. "Daddy, they burned our home!" Mia screamed, her small voice full of fear. She clutched Luke's hand tightly, her little fingers trembling. Her eyes were wide, and tears rolled down her cheeks. She could not understand why anyone would do such a thing. Luke ran toward the house, but it was too late. The wooden walls had collapsed, and everything inside had turned to ash. The garden was gone, the furniture destroyed, and even Buddy had run away out of fear. Luke felt a mix of anger, sorrow, and helplessness. He picked Mia up and held her close, trying to keep his own tears from falling. "This is okay, Mia. We are safe." "That is what matters," Luke said, though his voice shook. He did not want her to feel hopeless. He had faced danger in battle, but nothing had prepared him for seeing his home destroyed and knowing that they had lost everything they had built together. The neighbors soon gathered around, some offering comfort, some shaking their heads in disbelief. They told Luke that it seemed intentional, that someone had set fire to the house. Luke did not know why anyone would want to hurt them, but he knew he had to protect Mia and find a solution. As the fire died down, Luke noticed something unusual among the ruins. A small envelope had been left on the ground, almost as if someone had placed it there carefully. It was sealed with an old-fashioned wax seal and had a name written on it, Luke's full name. Curious and cautious, he picked it up. Inside, there was a letter from a distant relative he had never met. The letter said that he had inherited a farm far away, a property that had been in the family for generations. It explained that the farmhouse had been left untouched for decades, and it was now legally his. Luke looked at Mia. She was quiet, staring at the ruins of what had been her safe space. He knew that moving away was the only option. Staying in the town meant staying in danger, and they had nowhere to go anyway. "We are going to a new place, Mia, a farm that belongs to us. We will start over," Luke said softly. Mia nodded, trying to understand. She was scared, but she trusted her father. She had seen him handle hard situations before, and she believed that together they could face anything. The next morning, Luke packed what little they could salvage. Clothes, some kitchenware, a few photos that were not completely destroyed, and Mia's favorite toys went into the car. Buddy, their loyal dog, ran alongside them, sensing that they were leaving something behind. As they drove away, Luke glanced back at the charred remains. He felt a pang of sadness, but he also felt a small spark of hope. The farm promised a fresh start, and maybe, just maybe, it would give them a life filled with peace. The journey to the farm was long. They drove through winding roads, past forests and hills, and into a countryside Luke had never visited. Mia pressed her face against the window, looking at the green fields stretching endlessly. She seemed to forget, for a moment, the fire that had taken their home. When they arrived, the farm was larger than Luke had imagined. The fields extended for miles, dotted with old trees and a barn that looked like it had not been used in years. The farmhouse was old, but had strong walls. Its paint was faded, and the roof showed signs of wear, but Luke could see its potential. For the first time since the fire, he felt a sense of relief. This could be their new home. Mia ran into the fields, laughing as she chased butterflies and picked wildflowers. Luke followed slowly, carrying their belongings inside the farmhouse. The interior was dusty and cluttered, but it was intact. He walked through the rooms, imagining where he could place the furniture they had brought and how he could fix the floors. The farmhouse had a cozy feel despite its age, and Luke felt a small surge of excitement. As Luke explored the farmhouse, he noticed something unusual in the cellar. A hidden door was almost invisible, blending into the wall. It was locked with a rusty key, and next to it lay a small note that read, "For the air." Luke's curiosity was piqued. He used the key and opened the door. Inside, there was a small room filled with old papers, maps, and books. At the center, wrapped carefully in a cloth, was another envelope. Luke carefully opened it and found documents that mentioned a secret tied to the land. The papers revealed that the farm was not just land. It was part of a family inheritance linked to a large fortune. Companies, contracts, and valuable resources were tied to the property. Luke realized that the farm held a secret worth billions. He could hardly believe it. What seemed like a simple countryside farmhouse was actually a hidden treasure waiting to be discovered. Luke sat down on the dusty floor, holding Mia in his lap. She looked up at him, smiling. "Daddy, are we going to be okay?" she asked softly. Luke hugged her tightly. "Yes, Mia, we are going to be more than okay. We are going to be safe, and we will build a new life here together. Something better than before." Mia nodded and rested her head on his shoulder. Luke felt a mixture of determination and relief. The fire had taken their home, but it had also pushed them towards something greater. The farm was a chance for a fresh start, a chance to protect Mia, and perhaps a chance to uncover something that could change their lives forever. Luke spent the evening exploring more of the farmhouse and the surrounding land. He found old tools in the barn and imagined how he could repair the fences and cultivate the fields. There were abandoned orchards, and he thought about planting new trees for Mia to enjoy. Even though the farm seemed quiet and forgotten, Luke sensed that it was full of potential. He knew that with patience and effort, it could become a safe and thriving home for him and Mia. That night, as Luke tucked Mia into bed, he promised her that no matter what happened, he would always protect her. He also promised himself that he would uncover the secrets hidden in the farm. The fire had destroyed their past, but it had opened the door to a future full of possibilities. Luke was ready to face the challenges ahead. He was ready to turn the tragedy into hope and to make the farm a place where they could both feel safe, happy, and free. Luke woke up early the next morning, feeling a mix of excitement and responsibility. The farm was quiet, the kind of silence that made the wind through the trees sound louder and more peaceful. Mia was still asleep in the small bedroom they had set up, her face calm and innocent. Luke looked around the farmhouse and noticed the dust on the shelves, the cobwebs in the corners, and the faint smell of old wood. It was clear that this place had not been lived in for a long time, but Luke saw potential. He knew he could make it their new home. After making breakfast for himself and Mia, he decided to explore the farm more carefully. The fields stretched for miles, some filled with tall grass, some with overgrown crops that had long been forgotten. There was a barn, old and creaky, with a roof that had patches missing, but it seemed strong enough to hold equipment and supplies. Luke ran his hand over the wooden beams and imagined the barn full of tools, hay, and even a few animals. While walking through the fields, Luke noticed the edges of the property were marked by old stone walls. Some stones had fallen, and the fence posts were leaning, but he could see that this land had once been cared for. It reminded him of his own childhood when he would help his father in the fields. A smile came to his face as he thought of how he would teach Mia to plant vegetables, care for the animals, and enjoy the simple life of the countryside. Later, Luke returned to the farmhouse and decided to examine the documents he had found in the hidden room. He spread them out on a large wooden table and began reading carefully. The papers were old and brittle, but the writing was clear. They mentioned a family inheritance, companies, land rights, and assets that had been hidden for decades. Luke could not believe his eyes. The farm was more than just land. It was part of a business empire that had quietly grown over the years. Mia woke up and joined him at the table, curious about what her father was doing. "Daddy, what is all this?" she asked, pointing at the papers. Luke smiled and patted her head. "These are old papers from our family, Mia. They show that this farm is very important. There is a secret that has been kept for a long time, and it could change our lives." Mia's eyes widened. "A secret? Like treasure?" Luke laughed softly. "Something like that. But it is also about responsibility. We have to be careful and protect it." For the rest of the morning, Luke and Mia worked together to clean the farmhouse. Luke found old brooms and buckets and started sweeping the floors. Mia dusted the shelves and arranged the little items they had salvaged from their burned home. As they worked, Luke explained that the farm would be their new beginning. He told Mia that together they could make it a place filled with life, laughter, and safety. After lunch, Luke decided to explore the cellar and the hidden room again. He carefully examined the briefcase and documents. Some of the papers were maps of the land, showing hidden wells, storage areas, and even old tunnels that had been sealed for safety. Luke realized that the farm had more secrets than he had first imagined. He knew he had to learn everything about it to protect Mia and make sure they could live safely. He spent the afternoon reading through journals written by the relatives who had owned the farm before him. The journals told stories of hard work, challenges, and clever decisions that had helped build the wealth tied to the property. Luke felt a connection to these people, even though he had never met them. Their determination reminded him of his own struggles in the army and as a single father. Mia, meanwhile, wandered into the garden area and discovered small patches of plants that had survived. She smiled and ran to Luke. "Daddy, look. Some flowers are still here. We can save them." Luke knelt down beside her and examined the plants. "Yes, Mia, these are strong plants. Just like us, they survived difficult times. We will take care of them and make the garden beautiful again." The next few days were filled with hard work. Luke repaired broken doors, cleaned the barn, and started fixing fences. He wanted to make sure the farm was safe and livable for Mia. Each evening, they sat together and read the journals, slowly piecing together the history of the property. Luke discovered that the farm was not only valuable because of its land, but also because of the resources hidden within it. There were minerals, old contracts with companies, and even patents for inventions that had been left untouched. One afternoon, Luke explored the far side of the farm and found an old shed. Inside, there were crates filled with tools, old machinery, and a few boxes tied with ropes. He carefully opened one and found gold coins and rare artifacts preserved from decades ago. Luke realized that these items were part of the family's wealth, hidden to protect them from others. He knew that this was not just a treasure, but a responsibility. Luke thought about the fire that had destroyed their old home. He realized that someone might be searching for the same wealth. That knowledge made him determined to be careful. He could not let Mia be in danger, and he needed to find a way to secure everything. That evening, Luke and Mia sat on the porch, looking at the sun setting behind the fields. The sky was painted with gold and pink, and the air was calm and fresh. Mia leaned on her father and asked, "Daddy, will we ever go back to the old house?" Luke shook his head gently. "No, Mia. That house is gone, but we have something better now. This farm is ours. We will make it a safe home, and we will discover all the good things it holds. We will start over, stronger than before." Mia smiled and hugged him. "I like it here, Daddy. It feels like adventure." Luke smiled back. "Yes, Mia, it is an adventure. And together, we will make it wonderful." Over the next few days, Luke continued exploring the property. He found more hidden spaces, including small underground rooms that had been locked away. Each discovery added to the mystery and excitement. He realized that the farm held knowledge and treasures that could help them build a secure future. He made a plan to catalog everything carefully, taking notes and photos. He wanted to make sure nothing was lost or forgotten. Luke also started planting new crops in the cleared fields. He taught Mia how to water the plants, remove weeds, and care for the soil. They laughed together when the sun was warm, and they worked hard side by side. Luke realized that this work was healing for both of them. It gave them purpose, a routine, and hope. One evening, as Luke was reading through the journals by candlelight, he discovered a letter that hinted at a hidden vault. The letter described a place on the farm where valuable items and important documents had been stored for generations. Luke felt his heart beat faster. The farm was more than a home. It was a treasure map waiting to be uncovered. He knew he could not explore the vault alone. He needed to make sure Mia was safe and that they had a plan to protect everything they found. The fire that had destroyed their home was a warning, and Luke understood that the secret of the farm could bring both opportunity and danger. As the night grew quiet, Luke tucked Mia into bed. She held her small teddy bear tightly and whispered, "Daddy, I love our new home." Luke kissed her forehead and smiled. "I love it too, Mia, and I love you. We will take care of this place together, and it will be our safe and happy home." Luke stayed awake a little longer, thinking about the farm, the documents, and the secrets they held. He felt a sense of purpose he had not felt in a long time. This inheritance was more than just land. It was a chance to build a future for Mia, a future filled with hope, safety, and opportunity. The next morning, Luke made a plan. He would explore the hidden vault, catalog the documents and treasures, and begin repairing the farmhouse and fields. He also planned to keep an eye out for anyone who might try to claim the farm or the wealth for themselves. Luke was ready for the work ahead. He knew it would be challenging, but he also knew that with Mia by his side, he could handle anything. Luke and Mia stepped outside, looking at the vast fields. Birds sang in the trees, and the wind carried the fresh scent of the soil. The farm was quiet, but Luke could sense that it held many stories and secrets waiting to be discovered. Together, they would uncover them and turn the farm into a home filled with laughter and hope. Luke had been living on the farm for a few weeks, and each day brought a new discovery. The farmhouse was slowly taking shape, and Mia had begun to explore the fields with confidence. She ran freely among the flowers and trees, her laughter echoing across the open land. But Luke's mind was focused on the secrets hidden in the farm. The documents and letters he had found suggested that the property was part of a fortune built over generations. Every page he read added pieces to a puzzle, and he knew that there was much more to uncover. One morning, Luke returned to the hidden room in the cellar. The sunlight filtering through the small window made the dust in the air glow. He carefully examined the old documents, maps, and journals. Among them, he found letters that mentioned hidden compartments in the barn and storage rooms across the property. The papers described places where valuable items, rare artifacts, and important contracts had been stored for decades. Luke realized that this farm was not only valuable, but also dangerous if the wrong people discovered its secrets. As he studied the maps, Luke noticed a symbol he did not recognize. It was a small mark near the far end of the property, close to a hill covered with trees. He remembered reading in the journal that one of his ancestors had hidden treasures in that area, including gold coins and rare inventions. Luke felt a mixture of excitement and caution. He knew he needed to explore it carefully. Later that day, Luke decided to show Mia the fields, but he kept the details of the hidden areas to himself. He wanted her to enjoy the beauty of the farm without worry. They walked through the orchards and past a small stream that ran along the edge of the property. Mia picked flowers and watched butterflies, while Luke kept an eye out for anything unusual. The peacefulness of the farm made him feel at home, but he never let his guard down. After lunch, Luke returned to the barn. He had noticed a section of the floor that looked different, as if it had been replaced or reinforced. Using the maps from the journals, he realized that a hidden compartment might be located there. He carefully lifted the boards and found a small metal box underneath. Inside were old coins, letters, and a few documents that appeared to be contracts from decades ago. Luke understood that these items were part of the wealth tied to the farm, confirming that the inheritance was far more than just land. Luke spent the evening cataloging the items he had found. He arranged them carefully on a table, taking notes of everything. The documents revealed partnerships, land agreements, and inventions that had been left untouched for years. Luke realized that some of these inventions could be worth billions if properly utilized. The farm was not just a home. It was the key to a hidden fortune that had been carefully preserved. Mia watched her father with curiosity. "Daddy, are we going to be rich?" she asked innocently. Luke smiled and ruffled her hair. "Mia, it is not just about money. It is about responsibility. We have to protect this farm and everything in it. We need to make sure it stays safe for us and for the future." That night, Luke could not sleep. He thought about the fire that destroyed their previous home. He realized that someone might be searching for the same fortune. The knowledge of the farm's hidden wealth could attract dangerous people. Luke knew he had to be careful and plan every step before uncovering more secrets. He decided that he would explore the rest of the property systematically, making sure Mia was safe while he searched. The next day, Luke went to the far side of the farm, near the hill marked on the map. The area was thick with trees and bushes, and the ground was uneven. Luke moved carefully, using a small shovel to examine the soil for any signs of hidden compartments. After hours of searching, he found a small stone that was loose. He pushed it aside and discovered a hidden trapdoor. His heart raced with anticipation. The trapdoor led to a small underground room. It was dark and cool inside. Luke used a flashlight and saw crates and boxes stacked neatly against the walls. He opened one of the crates and found gold coins, rare gems, and old documents describing the family's business dealings. He realized that this hidden room contained a part of the fortune mentioned in the journals. The value of the items was immense, and Luke understood why his family had gone to great lengths to hide it. Luke carefully examined the documents and discovered contracts and patents for inventions that had never been used. The letters indicated that these inventions could generate enormous wealth if developed. Luke felt a mixture of awe and responsibility. He knew that this was not just about personal gain. The secrets of the farm had the power to change lives, but they could also bring danger if they fell into the wrong hands. Returning to the farmhouse, Luke shared some of his discoveries with Mia, keeping the details safe, but showing her the gold coins and a few rare artifacts. Mia's eyes sparkled with excitement, but Luke reminded her that their priority was to stay safe and take care of the farm. Over the next few days, Luke worked to secure the hidden rooms. He reinforced doors, added locks, and set up a system to keep track of every item. He wanted to ensure that no one could easily find the treasures or documents. Luke also started keeping a detailed journal, noting the locations of hidden items and the contents of each box. He realized that organization was key to protecting the inheritance. One afternoon, while exploring the orchard, Luke noticed fresh footprints near the edge of the property. They were not his or Mia's, and they suggested that someone had been near the farm. Luke's heart skipped a beat. The fire that destroyed their previous home and the discovery of the fortune could be connected. He understood that they were being watched and that he needed to be vigilant. Luke decided to take precautions. He contacted his old friend from the army, Sam, who had experience in security. Sam agreed to visit the farm and help them set up measures to protect the property. Luke felt a sense of relief, knowing that he had someone he could trust to help keep Mia safe. In the evenings, Luke continued reading the journals and documents. He learned about past disputes over the land, secret partnerships, and family decisions that had shaped the inheritance. Each discovery added to the mystery and gave Luke a clearer understanding of the fortune. He realized that the farm was not just valuable for its land or gold, but also for the knowledge and inventions hidden within it. Mia, meanwhile, grew more comfortable with the farm. She explored the fields, fed the small animals Luke had brought, and learned to plant seeds in the garden. Her laughter filled the farmhouse and reminded Luke why he had returned home. The farm was not only a place of wealth, but also a home where they could rebuild their lives. One evening, Luke and Mia sat by the fireplace. Luke held the journals in his hands and explained to Mia that the farm had many secrets that they needed to protect. Mia listened attentively, understanding the importance of safety and responsibility. Luke felt proud of how brave she was, even at a young age. The next morning, Luke returned to the hidden room in the cellar. He carefully examined a new set of documents he had found in the underground room. These papers described partnerships with companies and detailed business plans that had been kept secret for decades. Luke realized that this information could be worth billions if used correctly. The farm was more than land and treasure. It was the key to a family fortune that had been carefully preserved. Luke knew he had to act wisely. He could not rush into using the wealth or revealing the secrets. The fire that had destroyed their previous home was a warning. He needed to protect Mia, the farm, and the hidden inheritance until he could fully understand the situation. That night, Luke sat on the porch, looking at the stars. Mia lay asleep inside, safe and sound. Luke felt a mixture of determination, caution, and hope. The farm held a mystery, and discovering it would take time, patience, and careful planning. He was ready for the challenge. Luke understood that the inheritance was not just about money. It was about responsibility, family history, and the chance to build a safe and happy life for Mia. The farm was a treasure, a home, and a mystery all at once. He knew that every step he took would bring them closer to uncovering the full secret, and he was prepared to face whatever challenges came their way. Luke had settled into a routine on the farm, balancing the work of repairing the farmhouse, exploring the property, and keeping Mia safe. Each day brought new discoveries, but also a growing awareness that the inheritance was not something to take lightly. The documents and artifacts he had found suggested a fortune worth billions, and Luke knew that someone else could be searching for it. He could feel it in the quiet of the fields and the shadows along the fences. One morning, Luke noticed tire tracks near the entrance of the farm. They were fresh, and the soil showed signs of a heavy vehicle. His heart sank. Someone had been near the property without permission. He examined the tracks carefully and realized they did not belong to any neighbor or delivery service. Luke's mind raced with possibilities. The fire that had destroyed their previous home and the recent discoveries on the farm could be connected. He understood that danger was closer than he had imagined. Luke decided to take immediate action. He contacted Sam, his old friend from the army, who had experience in security and protection. Sam agreed to come to the farm and help set up measures to safeguard the property. Luke felt relieved knowing that he would have someone trustworthy to help him protect Mia and the inheritance. That afternoon, Luke and Sam began walking the perimeter of the farm. They examined fences, gates, and hidden entrances. Luke pointed out the locations of the hidden rooms and compartments he had discovered. Sam made suggestions for reinforcing the farmhouse, adding alarms, and creating safe areas in case anyone tried to break in. Luke listened carefully, knowing that every detail could make a difference. Mia was playing in the garden, planting seeds under Luke's guidance. She did not fully understand the danger around them, but she trusted her father completely. Luke watched her and felt a renewed sense of responsibility. Protecting Mia was his top priority, and he would do everything necessary to keep her safe while uncovering the secrets of the farm. As the sun began to set, Luke noticed movement near the edge of the property. Shadows shifted between the trees, and he could hear soft footsteps. His heart pounded. Sam was ready, and they moved quietly to intercept whoever was approaching. Luke's military training took over, and he carefully positioned himself so that they would have the advantage. If anyone tried to intrude, a figure emerged from the shadows. Luke could not see the face clearly, but the person froze when they saw him and Sam. Luke called out calmly but firmly, asking who they were and what they were doing on the farm. The figure hesitated and then ran back into the trees, disappearing before they could get a closer look. Luke knew this was only the beginning. Someone was watching the farm, and they would likely return. He spent the night planning security measures. He reinforced the doors and windows of the farmhouse, set up hidden cameras around the property, and created safe areas in the cellar for Mia. Luke also made a list of all hidden rooms and items, ensuring that nothing was left unaccounted for. Over the next few days, Luke and Sam worked together to improve security on the farm. They repaired fences, cleared brush near the perimeter, and created hidden escape routes in case of emergency. Luke also began training Mia in basic safety measures, teaching her how to recognize danger, stay calm, and follow instructions. Mia listened carefully and followed her father's guidance, showing courage beyond her years. While working in the barn, Luke discovered another hidden compartment under the floorboards. This one contained more documents and contracts, some of which were related to companies that had been in his family for decades. Luke realized that the inheritance was even larger than he had first thought. The farm was not only a home and a source of wealth, but it also contained knowledge and resources that could be extremely valuable. One evening, while reviewing the documents, Luke found a letter that mentioned a hidden vault on the property. The letter described a place where the most valuable items and secrets had been stored, protected for generations. Luke understood that this vault was the key to the full inheritance. He decided to prepare carefully before exploring it, knowing that anyone seeking the fortune would stop at nothing to find it first. Luke and Sam discussed their next steps. They planned to explore the vault together, taking precautions to ensure that it was safe. They also agreed to keep a low profile, avoiding any unnecessary attention. Luke realized that he could not fully enjoy the farm or the inheritance until he had secured everything. Meanwhile, Mia continued to enjoy the farm. She had planted flowers and vegetables, and the orchard was beginning to show signs of new growth. Her laughter and energy brought warmth to the farmhouse, and Luke felt that despite the danger, they were creating a home filled with life and hope. He reminded himself that the farm was not only a place of wealth, but also a place of love and security. One night, Luke and Sam were on patrol around the farm when they noticed lights moving in the distance. Shadows flickered between the trees, and the sound of footsteps grew louder. Luke's heart raced, but he remained calm. He signaled to Sam, and they positioned themselves to observe the intruders. A group of people appeared, moving cautiously toward the farmhouse. Luke realized that these were not ordinary trespassers. They were organized, likely searching for the same inheritance that Luke had discovered. He and Sam retreated quietly, ensuring that Mia was safe inside the farmhouse. They observed the group from a hidden location, taking mental notes of their movements and behavior. After the intruders left, Luke knew they could not stay unprepared. He and Sam returned to the farmhouse and reviewed their security plan. They reinforced hidden rooms, created additional barriers around the property, and set up signals to communicate in case of emergency. Luke also decided to explore the vault sooner rather than later, understanding that time was critical. The following day, Luke began preparing for the exploration of the vault. He gathered tools, flashlights, and protective gear. He carefully studied the maps and documents, noting all possible risks. Mia watched him with curiosity, but Luke explained that the vault contained important family secrets and that they had to be very careful. Mia nodded, understanding the seriousness of the situation. Luke's military training gave him confidence. He knew how to plan, assess risk, and remain calm under pressure. He also knew that the vault held the key to the full inheritance. The gold coins, artifacts, and documents they had found so far were only part of the story. The vault would reveal the true value of the farm and the secrets his family had preserved for generations. As Luke prepared, he reflected on the journey that had brought them to this point. The fire that destroyed their previous home, the discovery of the inheritance, and the challenges of securing the farm had all tested his strength and determination. He felt a deep sense of responsibility, not only for Mia, but also for the legacy he had inherited. The farm was more than property. It was history, knowledge, and a chance to create a future filled with hope. That evening, Luke and Mia sat together on the porch. The sky was clear, and stars twinkled above. Mia leaned against her father and whispered, "Daddy, are we going to be safe?" Luke hugged her tightly and smiled. "Yes, Mia, we are safe. And we will make sure this farm stays protected. Nothing will harm us as long as we are careful and work together." Mia smiled, feeling reassured. Luke watched her, knowing that the farm and the inheritance were more than just treasures. They represented a new beginning, a chance to build a life filled with safety, love, and opportunity. Luke spent the rest of the night reviewing the plans for exploring the vault. He understood that the next steps were critical. The inheritance was vast, and the threats were real. But he was ready. He would face whatever challenges came their way, protect Mia, and uncover the secrets of the farm. The threat was real, but Luke's determination was stronger. He had discovered the value of the farm, the hidden fortune, and the family legacy. Now, with careful planning, courage, and patience, he was ready to secure their future and reveal the secrets that had been hidden for generations. The morning sun bathed the farm in warm light. Luke stood at the edge of the orchard, taking a deep breath. Today was the day he would explore the vault he had discovered. Weeks of preparation, security planning, and cataloging hidden rooms had led to this moment. He checked his backpack for tools, flashlights, and notebooks. Sam was already waiting, standing quietly near the barn. Mia, curious but unaware of the details, waved from the porch, her small smile giving Luke courage. Luke and Sam approached the hidden trapdoor on the far side of the property. It was covered by old wooden planks and overgrown grass, blending perfectly with the surroundings. Luke knelt down and carefully removed the covering. The trapdoor was heavy, but with Sam's help, they lifted it, revealing a dark stairway leading underground. The air smelled faintly of earth and old wood. Luke felt his pulse quicken. The vault had been untouched for decades, and whatever lay inside could change their lives forever. Sam shined his flashlight down the steps. "Ready?" he asked. Luke nodded. "Let's do this carefully. Watch for anything unusual." They descended slowly, their footsteps echoing in the narrow staircase. At the bottom, the vault opened into a large room. The walls were lined with shelves, and the floor was filled with crates, boxes, and cabinets. Luke's eyes widened. The sight was overwhelming. Gold coins glimmered in one corner, rare artifacts in another, and rows of documents and contracts covered the walls. Every box seemed more valuable than the last. Luke moved carefully, examining the items. He opened a crate and found bundles of old letters describing family businesses, land deals, and secret inventions. Another box contained rare gems, neatly arranged and sparkling in the flashlight beam. Luke realized that the inheritance was far greater than he had imagined. It was not just wealth. It was knowledge, history, and power hidden for generations. Sam looked around and whistled softly. "This is incredible. Whoever did this was careful. They protected it well." Luke nodded. "And now it's our responsibility to protect it too. We cannot let anyone take this from us." As they continued exploring, Luke found a large cabinet with a lock. The key had been left among the documents he had found earlier. He opened it and discovered detailed business plans, patents for inventions, and contracts with companies all over the world. Some of these documents described technologies that could generate wealth and improve lives. Luke felt a mix of excitement and awe. The farm was not just a home. It was the key to a fortune worth billions. Luke spent hours cataloging the contents of the vault. He took notes, photographed items, and carefully organized everything. He understood that knowledge was as important as gold or gems. Each document held information that could secure their future and honor the family legacy. Mia, curious about the activity in the vault, was allowed to visit briefly under careful supervision. Luke showed her a few safe items, like coins and small artifacts, without revealing the full details. Mia's eyes sparkled with wonder, and she asked questions about the stories behind the treasures. Luke smiled and explained that the farm held history, secrets, and a chance to build something special. Mia nodded enthusiastically, understanding that this was their new adventure. By evening, Luke had organized most of the vault. He and Sam had developed a system to secure it, with multiple locks, hidden compartments, and a careful inventory. Luke knew that keeping the vault safe was essential. The fire that had destroyed their previous home and the intruders he had noticed earlier were reminders that danger could come at any moment. That night, Luke and Mia sat by the fireplace, reflecting on the journey so far. Mia leaned against her father and whispered, "Daddy, this farm is amazing. I love it here." Luke hugged her tightly. "I love it too, Mia, and we are going to take care of it together. This farm is our home, and it will always be safe for us." The following weeks were spent restoring the farmhouse and preparing the land. Luke planted new crops, repaired fences, and taught Mia how to care for the animals. The farm began to flourish, and their life started to feel normal again. Despite the wealth hidden in the vault, Luke focused on building a home filled with love, laughter, and hope. Luke also began contacting trusted professionals to help manage the business aspects of the inheritance. Lawyers, financial experts, and business consultants were brought in to ensure that everything was handled correctly. Luke understood that the fortune was not just for him and Mia, but also part of a family legacy that had been preserved for generations. One day, while reviewing the documents, Luke found letters from ancestors explaining the importance of protecting the inheritance. They emphasized using the wealth wisely, helping others, and ensuring that the farm remained a safe home. Luke felt a deep connection to his family's past. He realized that the true value of the inheritance was not just the money, but the lessons, knowledge, and responsibility that came with it. Luke decided to use part of the fortune to improve the farm and help the local community. He invested in modern equipment, repaired roads, and created programs to support nearby schools and families. The farm became a place of growth, not just for crops and livestock, but for the people who lived nearby. Luke's actions reflected the values his ancestors had, written about in the letters. Mia continued to grow alongside the farm. She learned about plants, animals, and the importance of responsibility. She helped Luke with planting, harvesting, and organizing the farmhouse. Her laughter and energy brought joy to Luke every day, reminding him why he had fought so hard to protect her. Luke also reflected on the dangers they had faced. He understood that some people might still be searching for the fortune, but he felt confident that their preparations and careful planning would keep them safe. The fire, the intruders, and the challenges of uncovering the inheritance had taught him patience, caution, and resilience. He knew that nothing could replace the safety and happiness of their home, and he was determined to protect it at all costs. As the months passed, the farm flourished. Crops grew tall and strong, the orchard produced fruit, and the animals thrived. Luke and Mia spent time together exploring the property, discovering hidden paths, and enjoying the beauty of the countryside. The farmhouse became a warm and welcoming home, filled with memories of rebuilding and hope. Luke felt a sense of accomplishment and peace. The inheritance had given them security, but it had also brought them closer together. The challenges they had faced had strengthened their bond, and Luke knew that Mia would grow up with a strong sense of responsibility, courage, and love for their family and home. One evening, as the sun set over the golden fields, Luke stood with Mia on the porch. She held his hand, looking at the beauty around them. "Daddy, we are home," she said, smiling brightly. Luke hugged her tightly. "Yes, Mia, we are home, and this home is ours to protect and cherish." Luke reflected on their journey, from the fire that destroyed their old home to discovering the vault, securing the inheritance, and building a life on the farm. The challenges had been great, but the rewards were even greater. They had found safety, love, and purpose. The $3 billion fortune was more than wealth. It was a family legacy, a symbol of resilience, and a foundation for their future. Luke knew that they had faced the most difficult part of their journey. The farm was secure, the vault protected, and the inheritance properly managed. He could finally focus on building a happy life with Mia, teaching her the values of hard work, kindness, and responsibility. Together, they had turned tragedy into opportunity and uncertainty into hope. As the night fell and stars filled the sky, Luke looked at Mia sleeping peacefully inside the farmhouse. He felt a sense of pride and gratitude. The farm, the inheritance, and the challenges they had faced had taught him lessons he would carry forever. He knew that the future held endless possibilities, and he was ready to face them. Hand in hand with Mia, the farm was no longer just a place to live. It was a home, a treasure, and a legacy. Luke had inherited not only wealth, but also a responsibility to protect and nurture it. With courage, careful planning, and love, he had turned a devastating tragedy into a life filled with hope, safety, and opportunity. Luke smiled, knowing that they had found their true home. The journey had been difficult, but it had also been rewarding. The farm, the inheritance, and the life he had built with Mia were more valuable than anything money could buy. He felt ready to embrace the future, confident that together they could face any challenge and enjoy the blessings of their new life.